Yo, what is up? This is your boy Guru back with a new video, and today we are playing with the brand new HWK 30, which will be released today for sale on all servers, I guess. And this tank is being released at a strange time. I say strange time because, of course, you notice that there are a lot of zoomy tanks around the servers right now. The French wheel tank missions has just been over, so everyone's been receiving their French light tanks, the wheeled tanks, FL10 EBR, and this is significantly changing the landscape of the game, the way the meta of the game. There's a lot of fast tanks now. You can see immediately the fast tanks are taking the middle of the cliff map, the donut area, and that is like stopping all the heavy tanks from climbing up from the north side and making their way down to the middle of the hill. That's going to slow them down because they've been spotted on their way up. So while I'm doing this review on this tank, it's been this game's changing, and I don't know if it's making the game better, making it more interesting, but the way it's going to affect the game is, if you're in a light tank right now and you don't have the kind of speed that you need to get to places, do your traditional light tank things, it's going to be really strange for a lot of people, and it's strange for me right now because I'm adapting to all the changes in real time. So let's talk a little bit about this tank. It's basically like a M40 190 Grand Final. It's got the same kind of penetration, 182 penetration on the standard shells, and 250 penetration on the heat shells, which is the premium shells. But of course, you have standard shells as APCR, so you have a little bit more shell velocity than the M40 190. It has 1080 shell velocity. Also on the heat shells, it has over 1000 shell velocity, so it's slightly better than the M40 190 Bulldog, which has really slow shell velocity. But I'll be honest with you, when you're playing this tank, it's not going to be your traditional light tank. You're going to have a lot of faster light tanks dominating this game now. They're going to be in positions earlier than you are, so you're not going to be playing that traditional light tank role. Plus, this tank is really slow compared to traditional light tanks. It has 70 kilometers an hour forward speed and 24 in reverse, slightly slower than the Bulldog. But overall, it is a kind of slow tank. You can call this a medium tank with good camo, or you can call this a medium tank with really bad armor. But you can't really play it like a traditional light tank role. And that's the thing about this tank. But the good thing it's got going for it is it's got pretty good view range. 470 meters, that's like 20 meters better than the Bulldog, and the camo rating is kind of good as well. I don't know exactly what camo rating. You saw me do 300 damage there to the links with the HE shells, and that's the thing you're going to be also doing in this tank. You're going to be juggling the ammo a lot. Between the standard shells, between standard shells, premium shells, and HE shells, and this is all because of the new wheel tanks. You're going to be using a lot of HE shells, and with this tank, especially because of its higher penetration of HE shells, you have 102 penetration on HE shells that does 320 damage, if I'm not mistaken, average damage. So you're going to be juggling these premium shells and standard shells and HE shells, so you're going to be doing that a lot with this tank. But in any light tank, you're going to be doing that a lot nowadays because you're going to be facing a lot of these wheeled tanks that are susceptible to HE shells. So you're going to need to get used to juggling shells, I guess, with any kind of tank for that matter, because you want to maximize your damage potential. So you need to get used to, in this new era of World of Tanks, where you have these wheeled tanks, these fragile tanks that you can do a lot of damage in if you have HE shells loaded in your tanks. So that's another challenge that you're going to have to get used to, besides avoiding RT and the regular things. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're planning to get one of these HWK 30 tanks, you really need to do this because you want the challenge. Is this a fun tank to play? It is fun if you're looking for this kind of challenge. No armor, not particularly great mobility. The gun isn't that great, to be honest with you. If you're sniping from a distance, even though you have high shell velocity, 1000 meters per second, it still isn't a very good accurate gun. You're gonna miss a lot of shots. So if you're in it for the challenge, if you're in it to challenge yourself, to have something else to do in this game besides just doing damage and being a god, I guess this tank is for those kinds of people that you know, want to have more of a challenge in this game. Juggling your armor, avoiding artillery, playing with poor gun performance, then this tank is for you. But for regular kinds of people, I don't think this tank is going to appeal to a lot of people, to be honest with you, because there are a lot of other tanks out there that's going to give you more satisfaction and fulfillment, like for instance the LT432. That's going to give you a lot more satisfying gameplay if you're looking for, you know, doing more damage, doing more spotting. Well, even though I died there, we still won that game, and I did about 1900 damage. In this Lakeview game, you're gonna see me struggle with that sniping thing that I was talking about. I'm gonna get into this early spotting position if I can, and I'm going to encounter one of these light tanks. Unfortunately, he's gonna snapshot at me, and I'm not gonna snapshot at him. I'm gonna switch to HE shells, and I'm gonna penetrate him frontally with my HE shells. So that's a little kind of satisfying, doing 300 plus damage onto the guy, and he's going to be eliminated almost immediately. Now, once again, there's nothing much to say about this tank in terms of the armor. Obviously, you are a light tank. There is no armor in this tank. There is substantial view range, superior to the M41 Bulldog, which is 470 versus the 458 you get from the Bulldog. So that's the kind of advantage that you're gonna get over the Bulldog. But this tank is a lot bigger than the Bulldog, you must remember that. And the gun performances is also slightly worse than the Bulldog. It has 1.93 of seconds of aim time. Dispersion is slightly better than the Bulldog, but the aim time is a lot slower. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression, which you can work around ridges if you're doing a bit of spotting. Like I said, the shell velocity is a little bit better than the Bulldog, but it's still not good enough if you ask me in terms of sniping from a distance. I don't know, I'm just not feeling this thing as a aggressive alpha tank, you know, an aggressive carry tank. I don't feel that this tank is doing it for me. It does the job. It can snipe. It can act as a LT, but it doesn't have the mobility of the kind of fast LTs that you want. So, and plus the new meta that's coming out with all the fast wheeled tanks. I think the best light tank out there is the LT432, and now you're gonna come up with wheeled tanks that's gonna get into early positions quicker than you. You're gonna play a little bit more passively. You're gonna not be as brave as you used to be. In your old light tank ways, you used to be going forward a lot because you had your superior camo values and you had your slightly above average speeds. Now you're gonna lose all that, and you're gonna have to adapt to the new ways of playing this game. You're not going to get that early positions anymore, so you've got to adapt, and you've got to change the way you play your LTs nowadays. So it's kind of different in that way. So like I said, if you were looking for a challenge in this game, playing out the new meta, the new LTs, you're going to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more careful, try not to get caught out in the open with your pants down. Then this tank is going to give you that challenge, because this game didn't, in this Lakeville game, we didn't have any wheeled tanks, and that's a real surprise, because normally you're going to have 2 or 3 wheeled tanks in every game, total of 6 on both sides. But very seldom this is going to happen, where you're going to not have any wheeled tanks. So I do end up winning this game doing 1900 damage, but that's not the point. My point is the new meta is going to inhibit you from doing what you normally would do in a top tier light tank, where you feel like you are, you know, like God. But it's not that case anymore with the new light tanks. You see how that gun trolls me? You make those kind of shots once in a while. It's got 0.33 dispersion, so from a distance sometimes it just doesn't work. Anyway, I hope you get a little bit of insight into this tank and help you make your decision if you want to get this tank or not. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.